could say Cole, I could say Kendrick, but let me just say Thames.
Oh,
I love Thames, man. She especially in this like grind, I like the mellow vibe. So I'll say
okay.
that.
I thought you meant like Tamia, and I thought you guys had like a nickname going on, bro.
Bro, you could just say 90s
Tamia.
R&B and then I'm good.
Hey, I'm telling you what, you have the best vibes every time I come in there, man.
Bro, that playlist has been curating since 14.
Welcome back, Pushin P fam. Super excited for this little sit down. I don't want to call it an interview. We'll call it a conversation amongst friends with our
I
boy,
like that.
Dr. Joey Salgado. For those of you who don't know Joey, he is the founder, co-owner, and head of growth of Progressive Motion Physical Therapy. He is also a Movement Links certified provider, and we get into what Movement Links is a little bit in the show. He is a myofascial decompression provider, and he is also, importantly, a Lululemon ambassador. But JT, what do we get into in this convo with Joey?
Very important. Yeah, Joe, I'm excited for this conversation. Joey's been fixing my life, so I'm hoping everybody can get some type of value in this show. But we talked about what he's currently working on. There's always exciting things on his end. If you don't follow him now, hit the follow button. We talk about the motion collab events that he's been running. I've been to one of them and looking forward to joining more of those. And then we talk about techniques as coaches that we can use for clients who experience pain, and how do we go about that while staying within our scope of practice. So a lot of good stuff there. And of course, we talk about music, which is one of my favorite things to talk about with all my guests. So
Always.
always. Plus
Shoot.
more.
Well, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Joey, you mentioned up top asking how JT and I met. And the reason I say I want to hold on to it, okay, a little special top question for you before we even get into it. So I met JT when he was being a model. He was
What?
being an Exos model. He was doing an Exos photo shoot.
Let's
He was
go.
doing an Exos photo shoot. I was a little bitter because I was not selected. The photo shoot was at my facility in San Diego that I was working at. That's how I met JT. But the reason I bring that up is because I see you on the gram, bro. I see you modeling, doing a little Lulu modeling,
Bro.
doing a little Lulu ambassador ring. You look good. First and foremost, you look
Come
good.
on, you
So
start like this.
you're starting like
Looks great. It looks
Wait,
great.
so how did that come about?
Oh man. All right. It's a good start. Okay, so let me say this. 5 years ago, I would say about 5 years ago, I was trying to figure out, right? I think this was at the time when I started realizing, like, damn, I think we have something to share. And I'm realizing at this point, like, all right, as cool as we think physio is, like, no one really gives a damn. And so I started thinking about, like, all right, what are people already into, right? Like athleisure wear, fitness, and of course the swoosh, right? At the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, man, like I grew up off basketball culture, and so Nike was just such a natural fit. But then I started like looking around and like, all right, what other companies are also getting more involved with the community? And I'm no big influencer, and it was almost like Nike wouldn't really. It was such a big company. I was advised like it's such a big company. How are you going to break in when
Yeah.
there's other companies that are also trying to get on the floor with local community um, people in the healthcare and fitness industry? And my drive for this was because I wanted to figure out a way to spark curiosity, right? Spark curiosity for the people that are already wearing certain clothing. They know it's associated with fitness. And it was a way for me to be like, all right, if I can just find a way to get in, then we can start to expose people to something that they didn't know they needed.
Yeah.
And I had some thoughts on the Lululemon shoot that I challenged them to next time I would love to do, because I know it was like a portrait, but my desire was to get someone on a table doing some table drills so that
Yeah.
when people walk in the store, they're like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
But we'll save that for another time. And essentially, I asked Lululemon about 5 years ago if physical therapists are allowed to be ambassadors, and they told me no. But I just kept talking about it and talking about it, and I found the right person, and his name is Bing, and he vouched for me out in San Francisco, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity because they've been really good to me. So
Hell
So you're
yeah,
an
dude.
ambassador for Lululemon, is that?
yeah, in the San Francisco region, they just modified it to having about 10 ambassadors for San Francisco region, which normally there's about 3 per store, but they shrunk it up so they can give more attention to the ambassadors.
That's so tight. Damn, man. So just
Yeah.
breaking in, showing the profession in a different in a place where people wouldn't have seen it.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely
That was the intent, man.
I love it. Definitely a better reason than JT had for modeling. He was probably just showing off his hair.
I got a free
I don't
dinner.
know.
I got a free dinner. That was the main
And a trip
thing.
to San Diego. That was it, bro.
Oh dang! So they flew you down. They flew you down from the bay.
They flew me down, and
Wow.
I would say that's why we're here right now and on the podcast.
Hold on.
That's
Hold on. Hair up or hair down?
Oh man, they had me.
There's a bit of both.
They wouldn't let me wear a hat. That's for sure. So I think part of that reason was I had a little bit of discipline growing out my hair.
That's what's up. I need to see those pictures. That might need to be in the show notes.
If we need that. But
Bro, you'll see it on random like brochures of Exos or whatnot. But we'll talk about that another time.
So Joey, let's circle back. So you mentioned wanting to get PT in front of more people. So let's take us all the way back to the beginning, right? Like, what made you want to become a PT in the first place, and then now, what are you trying to do with your role as a physio?
I think that story, it's pretty common amongst a lot of us, right? Like PT, I wanted to figure out a way to somehow be involved with movement, exercise because of my affinity for sports.
And real quick,
yeah.
just to define PT, it's physiotherapy, not personal training, right?
Physical therapy. Yep. I'm an old head, man. So this was 2011 when I graduated PT school, and I just had an affinity for doing something in the medical realm, but being more involved with movement, exercise. And I think the big underlying thing was I started to see how one can struggle so much physically in their body and how much that can affect their well-being mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, especially directly from my mother with bilateral knee replacements. And, back in the day too, I'm a first generation Filipino American, like active exercise and preventative care. I feel like we're just starting to see it more and more now. Right. So, that was kind of how I just got in. So nothing very unique in that sense, but looking back at it now, it's like, damn, this is, I never would have expected this. So very grateful.
Damn, it's having that shared experience or having that experience in general, like something that's in your life that's actively driving you towards the profession. I think, like, personally for me, it helps keep you focused and locked in, especially like in a profession, in an industry like ours, when times aren't great or, things may be uncertain. It's like, no, I know exactly why I'm doing this.
Bro, yes. JT knows we talk a lot about this stuff. Like, heavily relying on purpose-driven action, man. Like, I don't know how to do anything without. It's hard for me to put in my energy, my generous intent when I don't have a purpose that drives it behind it. It's just hard for me, and I don't think I ever want to live a life where I'm not driving with intent.
I think that's something that we just start to understand or think about throughout our career, right? Whether it be from a natural place or just after a place of challenge or hardship, right? And for sure I feel the same way. But yeah, I think preventative care is something that was early on is not something that's that was talked about, like you said, right? Early on, it's like Vicks Vapor Rub, bro, that my mom gives me, and that fixes my shoulder. I'm like, okay,
it fixed everything, dude. Damn, I didn't know you were gonna bring Vicks up in this podcast.
Early on, that's all we had. That's all we had, bro. But what with that in mind now, like I know I've seen your evolution, and real quick for the audience, like this guy's a miracle worker in the sense of making things out of nothing. Like I come to this guy broken, I'm like, bro, I cannot move, and I just picked up a pencil the other day. So, and you fixed me right through obviously the education and educating, which is something I appreciate about you. You educate me a lot with movement and through a lens that I don't typically learn about or really experience in my everyday. So, just kind of take us through what you're currently working on now, knowing that I've only seen this side of your evolution. So, if you want to kind of take us back, like you said, why you where you came from, and then I kind of know where you're working on, but if you can vocalize that to the audience and
Sure.
share where you are with that.
Yeah, sure, man. I graduated in 2011, and my first 3 years of being a physical therapist were pretty dark in the sense of I was working at your typical mill. I was working, let's say a standard, let's say 11-hour day, because I would have a
Mm.
few 11-hour days where I would see about 4 to 5 people per hour.
Mm.
Mm,
Um, Again, it would be sporadic, right?
right.
Like I would see probably in total about 25 to 28 on a day
Mm.
at my very first job. And again, as a new PT, like you really don't know, especially back in the day, bro. Like it
Mm,
wasn't as easy to access information and be mentored online. Like that was in existence. That's how old I am. It wasn't as normal, right?
right.
Yeah.
And so I went through a few experiences where I was kind of left, one, being very unhappy about where I was in my life. Um, I would say my development as a PT really was slow because I also didn't have the growth mindset of seeking. I wasn't seeking the like to just keep getting better. I grew up very okay with being okay.
Mm,
Mm.
I was just wanting to get by, and a lot of that was driven by my insecurities because I didn't want to be put into situations where I was looking inept.
Mm.
And so my first 3 years, I started to realize, and the days started compounding on days where I started to become someone that I didn't even want to be around because I kept complaining about my circumstances. I was a pessimist. Um, and so you come to a point in your life where you either like keep looking around and you start running out of people to blame. And all I had to do was really look in the mirror.
Mm.
And so that was the beginning of my journey where I had to figure out, am I going to continue in this profession or am I going to find an opportunity that finally suits me?
Mm.
And so 2014 is when I went to shout out to Elisa Herrera set in Belmont, California. I went to it. I thought it was a job interview. So I showed up suited up, and she came out in her Pilates clothes, and she was like, "Nice suit." I go, "Oh, sorry, I thought this was an interview." Um, but it essentially was just an opportunity to start my own practice out of her practice. So sublease space. And then that was the beginning of the journey when I started to just hold myself accountable to my life.
Mm.
And again, that was the beginning. It wasn't like it still continues to take a lot of work in that,
Yeah.
but that was kind of how progressive started in 14. Um, but yeah, and from there I just started going into uh, different different education where I think the thing that made the biggest move was meeting Claire Frank in 2016 and movement
Mm.
mix.
yeah.
And then, yeah.
You should have had a Lulu suit on at least, bro. At that time.
Something
I
more
didn't even know.
vocal.
I didn't even know what
Get active.
Lululemon was back then.
Yeah. No, but that's interesting. I know there was a lot of roadblocks there that you had to overcome, and as much as I want to get into that, I know it's almost like a buzzword now, like bridging the gap,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
within our industry, and I know that's something that you're passionate about. But can you talk a little bit about what that means to you and what you're currently
Oh,
trying to do to create that bridge?
yeah, absolutely, bro. Like, again, like we all love our respective fields, right? That's the
Mm.
reason why we are continue to stay driven to learn as much as we can and deliver a better product or service, right? But it was about 2 years ago when me and Josh, my business partner Josh, we started to realize like, yo, as much as we love this, yeah, people really don't care about physio. Like really, Rick, when you talk about it, right? Physical therapy, like, cool, that ain't for me. And so there's a reason why we've been like we're still progressive motion, but Jason Maiden, who now is the current chief design officer of Jordan Brand,
Mm.
he pulled up during COVID and he basically rebranded us to where our work happens is called the Motion Lab.
Mm.
And I was like, I was like, Jay, I don't want to question your design or anything, but I'm curious why you took out progressive motion physical therapy from like the branding aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, bro, can I be frank with you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, hey, bro, like at the end of the day, man, as much as I love you, like I really don't give a damn that you're a physical therapist. All I want to know is, can you help me?
Yeah.
And until you start moving with that energy, you're not going to be relatable to people. And so that was the planting of a seed for me in 2020 during COVID that me and Josh needed to start realizing like, yeah, we ain't shit.
Mm.
But what we do have to figure out is how do we get people's attention to become curious about this work. And so from then to now, I'm realizing that I have to figure out ways to get people that are movement curious in different disciplines so that now we have entry points to progressive motion that is unified along our philosophy so that we can continue to move what we believe in through different entry points of massage, strength coaching, and hopefully as we continue to expand, we get different disciplines that want to be a part of this vision.
Mm.
And that's how we
Okay.
meet people where they are.
Hell yeah. I was
And
wondering how
so
you got the creep behind you
what?
and the backdrop, little concrete on the backdrop
Oh
looks good.
yeah. Jason blessed us, dude. I feel so. Yeah, this was like a dream of mine to be like in somewhat of a Jordan S facility, and he just pulled up and dropped it on us. And I love that man. He changed my life, like for real.
Mm.
So I'm grateful for him.
Hell yeah, dude. No, thank you for sharing that with us. That's incredible. And sometimes you need that hard truth, the outside perspective, right? So do you think, like, it sounds like people in the general population, athletes, they kind of view PT as a place you go when you're broken or whatever it might be, but it sounds like your philosophy is well beyond that, right? Can you unpack that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think just traditionally speaking, people, I think the insurance model has kind of, and Josh will say this all the time, it's kind of a hijacked our personal profession because I was speaking about where I used to work. And my question is, like, I'm not saying you can't find success in the insurance model. So I want to make sure I'm very clear about that. I think it's absolutely possible. But the way we love to move and interact is our ability to create relationships, educate, like JT said earlier, and being able to take the time to actually work through with people. But unfortunately, we've been conditioned to think that we only go to physical therapy when there's pain. And that's still true. Like a lot of the people that come to progressive, the entry point is pain. And I don't think that's necessarily going to change. I think what our job is as a profession and as a collective group is to appreciate each other's specialty so that we can expand the possibility of this like longevity model that we're all seeking, right? Us getting strong in the gym, us getting on the field, us doing acupuncture, massage, chiropractic, it all matters. It all matters. It's just when we're in different seasons of our life, some might matter more.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing when we get on, and again, me too. When I get on my ego trip before, it was like, PT's everything, y'all. Like, you need it. That's not false. It's just to some people, it might not matter to them right now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I need to find a massage therapist that believes in this so that the entry point to the system is this person.
Why do you think it was originally brought up to where we think it is in the sense of like, oh, it's only for after you get injured?
I don't know this answer at all. And you know me, JT, like I'm a pretty big optimist, but I don't think if we just let the current environment dictate our well-being, I don't think we're going to get to where we want to go. We have to advocate for ourselves, right? Do you think, and I don't like talking in this tone, but like insurance should be covering personal training and strength coaching.
Yeah, for
But it
sure.
doesn't.
Yeah.
So we're already a reactive environment. I think it's shifting. It's shifting absolutely.
For sure.
Like the market is saying it. Like people are seeking wellness now,
Right.
and preventative and performance. Before, it's just like reactive, and I think we're learning a lot now about getting ahead of things before it actually becomes a problem because it matters. Like it's the same thing with like mental health. Like when does mental health stop?
Right.
Yeah.
When you're good, and then what? Something unforeseen happens, and what?
Yeah.
Right. So same thing with our
Right.
bodies. So that's the same way I see it.
Mm. Going back, I know you mentioned Claire Frank, and I had the pleasure of and honor of being in person to have her speak and very briefly about something that she could probably have spoken a whole month or
Yeah.
years worth of content. So I want you to speak a little bit about the motion collabs. Claire Frank, I know you want to. I think it's we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about her and her teachings and whatnot. But yeah, talk a little bit about Motion Collab and then your thought of starting that up. And I know it kind of intertwines the bridging the gap concept and intention there. So yeah, give us a little rundown of what that is, what that'll look like.
Yeah, I'm gonna go deep because I told you guys I don't really like doing things without purpose. And so to give you guys context on why the collab was started, it starts from a inner desire for myself to find community. I grew up in communities where I was usually the only Filipino. And so I struggled a lot in my upbringing of feeling one, always othered, and then also whenever I was with the Filipino community, I felt like I wasn't Filipino enough. And
Mm.
so I constantly had a conflict in both environments that I was constantly exposed to, which is why sports is a big love for me because you put a ball in the middle of the court, it's like it don't
Yeah.
matter, right?
Yeah.
So as Progressive started developing, as we started growing, started thinking about what are we missing here in the Bay Area? It's like we're so widespread. There's so much greatness within here, so many different people, different regions. Yet I haven't heard of any networking opportunities that had a sense of without this button up culture, like something that was much more casual. You could show up and be yourself. You could show up new. You could show up experience and everything in between. I felt like every networking thing I did, while I'm grateful for all these other opportunities, um, everything felt like you had to have a prerequisite to show up. And that leads to a lot of things where people don't feel welcome. They don't feel like they could be themselves. And it leads to a lot of, in my experience, a lot of kind of surface level conversation. So the Motion Collab was Progressive's effort in intersecting cultures, intersecting professions to remind each other that we are valuable in people's lives. And again, to my point, there's just different seasons for people. And so it was our initial effort to just like, hey, what do we want to learn? All right, dope. Let's do mental performance. Let's do some business education. Let's do maybe let's bring in Claire because obviously she's a big mentor of ours. So what I'm trying to do is like bring in things that people didn't know they really needed, but I'm surrounding that with networking so that there's an entry point of like maybe I can just meet people and level up my business too. And so we're curating a culture around growth mindsets and the abundance of how much business that we could all achieve together in a networking space that constantly vibrates the similar sentiment of just like we're all just here to get it, we're all just here to win, we're all here to learn. Let's get some good food and maybe have some drinks and just have a good time. And That's kind of been the first test of 2023. We ran about 7 of them, and we have our next one on January 26th with our personal mental performance coach, Rashana Moss. And so I'm super excited to have this one too. So that's kind of in a nutshell what our collabs have been about, man.
That's so dope. We obviously will link all the info for that in the show notes. We could share that on our page as well, so people could tap into it in the Bay Area. But like, I mean, one, I'm jealous as hell that I'm in San Diego and I'm not up there for that. But what were some of the learnings that you got from 2023 running 7 of these things?
People need community, man. People need to be reminded why they got into this word. I think, I would say in all respects, right? Being an employee of a bigger company or a smaller company or running your own business, the stress of that hustle can cause people to lose sight on why they got here. And which is why I'm a big proponent of perspective shifts, something that works for you to consistently shift perspective so that you're reminded about why you're doing this and then what your gift truly is. Because I think also in social media, it is easy to look up and see what you're not doing all the time in comparison to this other person. And that feeling sucks, right? But this is why, like, when people work with our company, it's like, I'm constantly asking them, what's your intent with being here? What do you want out of this? And so if they know what they want out of this, they can see how progressive motion can help them get them to that point. I just want people living with intention. If it's not for you, it's not for you. It's all good. And the quicker you can move on to the next thing, the quicker you are to your happiness. And it's also good for our business because then we can continue to move too. And so community, bro, like the collab, like, and JT saw the last one. The last one was like, everyone was special, but the last one, I felt this like something come over me, bro, and seeing a wide range of people. Claire, my mentor, just people need to be reminded. That's all, and that's why I think the collab is special.
Heck yeah, dude, that's sweet.
Yeah.
And just to kind of clarify, it's a community of people in our industry out. So yeah, to kind of give. I'm curious to hear of all the 7 events that you did last year. What were like the main professions that you had joining that community?
It was heavy on obviously physical therapists because we've been pretty much known as a physical therapy company. So I think people naturally followed us from that. A lot of trainers, strength coaches. I wish more chiropractors showed up, and I think they probably will soon. Sprinkled in some acupuncturists, massage therapists. Yeah, I would say that's the majority, but I hope this continues to expand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. So like, again, like you mentioned keeping us tied to our original goal of just helping the people in front of us, right? And being in our profession with purpose. But like, these are groups that are not, as you said, traditionally playing nice together or playing together at all. Like, I mean, you're not seeing a lot of massage therapists and strength coaches and acupuncturists and chiropractors all under the same roof. So, what is your process for helping everybody kind of play nice in the same sandbox? Or does that just happen organically?
I wish I could say it happens organically. I think organically can happen at a smaller scale. I think right, because you can just find a few people that really believe in the culture and the mission, and then I think for the most part you can keep that fairly controlled. The challenge that I'm realizing now is as we continue to grow, it becomes even more important to have culture conversations at top of mind to remind people what this vision and mission is really about. So they're reminded of, is this for me? Is this for me? I want that continued conversation to happen so that people are not wasting time in their life being with us. Right? That's very important. Now, secondly, when we say organically, I think organically in a sense of the amount of rigor that we put through this small business in checking in with our staff every single week is predicated on the fact that we want to facilitate more open and honest conversations, 360 feedback, making sure that they're good. And if they're not, what resource can we pull to help them? Like Rashana, she's been such a big blessing to us because me and Josh work with her individually for mental performance. But whenever we feel and palpate something that feels a little off in our staff, I'll always offer a resource like, "Yo, have you ever been open to speaking to someone?" And this is why I love the word or the field of mental performance.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like therapy or psychotherapy,
That's
right?
true.
It's a little less scary for people, and it's part of what Jason made and got us to think about. Is like you got to meet people where they are in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think when you have that, when you can collaborate and you share each other's gifts and remind each other of like what this is for, which is
Mm-hmm.
the recipient of this,
Yeah.
then it's about that. But we all have to be able to reframe that and work on our own mental performance because it is easy to get the ego to get in the way. But what I was reminded by my previous mental coach was if it's about the vision and the mission, then it's about that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to remember that as you start to, collectively build a team. And I think that's why we hire for culture. Because I can hire someone that's super dope, but there's not a culture fit. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
That was a bar. If
That
it's not about
fire, dude.
If it's about the vision and the mission, it's about that.
Yeah, learning a lot through this, bro. So,
bro, I've never heard anybody use the word palpate metaphorically. That was good.
I stole that mentally so fast. I was like, damn, I can't wait to say that shit later. That's awesome.
Seriously.
Oh no, man! I think I black out when I start getting those like.
It's called flow.
I just start talking.
Like that wall behind you, bro. That's your brain. Like it's moving.
Oh,
it's grooving.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome, man.
Oh my god, no, dude, that was so well said. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk. You've said it a couple times now, but like the seasonality of someone's, movement journey, let's say, or just their life. Like sometimes they need PT, sometimes they may need more mental performance, sometimes they may need to work with a dietitian, sometimes and us as practitioners being cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, and understanding, because again, like, what's the mission? What's the vision? It's helping this person in front of us.
Bro, yes. And it goes back again to culture, right? Because I can talk about a business culture code, but then we can also talk about us three individually. Like, what are the values and principles we choose to live by? Isn't that essentially kind of how I would say, choose our friends too? Like, if you have certain people that kind of, subconsciously, it's kind of like, oh yeah, like I mess with this person, they kind of like the same things, similar values. So we kind of just naturally gravitate to each other.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that helped me through my life start to kind of like narrow my circle of people in the sense of who do I want to spend my majority of my time with, right?
Yeah.
And we all know it too. Like sometimes family is the hardest people too, right? Because sometimes we all evolve in different directions.
Yeah.
But it's doing it with grace that changed me. I had a lot of shit I had to work through, and grace was the word of 2023. Grace and joy for me was the words of 2023 that I struggled with my whole life. So I'm grateful to kind of arrive in 24 with a cleaner slate.
No, I love it, man. I appreciate all the candid answers and being real with it, because I think it's easy, like you said, with Instagram to be highlight reel. Everything's all good all the time, and that's especially in this industry, it's far from it. But to switch gears a little bit, you mentioned Claire Frank, you mentioned movement links. So getting into the weeds a tiny bit for either physios or for coaches out there listening in who don't know anything about movement links and Claire Frank's work at all, how would you, at a high level, describe it?
Yeah. So Claire Frank has been practicing since 1985. So there's 38 years of knowledge accumulated in one person. What makes her unique is that she's been mentored by probably three of the most influential people in our industry, which was Shirley Sarman, who really came up with like movement-based diagnoses.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Lewitt, and I'm gonna forget this last one. Well, she was also mentored by Stuart McGill.
Oh shit.
Yep. And Pavel Kolar. Oh man, I can't believe I almost forgot that one. Pavel Kolar, like the DNS world. So she's taken the best of some of the people in our profession, packaged into Claire Frank, who lives by inspire, educate, and empower. Something that I struggled with in academia was like not really being exposed to a lot of people that was able to teach with a lot of love and grace. Like it was like that like hard style type of academia discipline, and that's like, you know, as an insecure ass kid, like it was really hard to like feel safe in that environment, you know what I'm saying? And so now like taking notes from her energy, and you still don't mess with her, and you know she has that very stern discipline kind of vibe, but there's so much love behind it too, you know? And you can I was gonna say palpate again, but you know what I mean? So you can feel it. And so she taught me a lot about movement assessment, movement diagnoses, and treatment. And the thing is, what and I've talked to her too about this, and how sometimes it's hard to market that because, you know, a lot of us are seeking techniques, right? Like I love Krista Prado at Cup Therapy. It's like it's a technique, or Graston, or rock pods, rock tape. These are all techniques, right?
Yeah.
And Claire is selling a thought process that you could take everywhere to whatever modality we use. But the empower side is the one that I really got from her. It was like, how do we evaluate and then empower the person that we're evaluating so that they actually believe they can achieve it on their own? So yeah, and even JT, you talked about you know, even the word fix, right? Like you did that shit on your own, bro. Like I facilitated and I educated, and I put you in position to feel.
Yeah.
I didn't do that work. You did.
Right.
And that part is really important to distinct, because I could have told you, like, hey, I got you, bro. Like, I fixed you. So you should come back.
Right.
You know where that psychology goes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It almost sounds like you're creating or what Claire did was she created like a psychological safety environment for you to feel empowered, right? As opposed to, I think, in kind of answering my question earlier of like why do we think physical therapy has gotten to this place of we're only there to fix? Is I think you physical therapists almost held that power of like, oh, I can fix you. You're here, and I will fix you, and then see you later, kind of thing. So that was a good way to almost help me understand the power that you have to help me feel empowered, almost, right?
I love that. Yeah, no, exactly, bro. And knowing that you guys are in this field, you guys have that ability too. And everyone that has their specialty, like we're empowering people using our specialized skill sets, which is what makes us all dope, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, 1,000%. You mentioned that this is, so basically what Claire Movement Links are providing is a framework, is a system to encourage other things. And that's, it's funny you mentioned that, like that is basically what JT and I do for a living as educators for Exos. Like we're doing the same thing, just for mostly strength coaches, but like we always get the same pushback of like, oh, I'm a FRC person, so I can't do that. Or, oh, I'm a, you know, triphasic person, so I can't do that. When in reality, like that's not how systems work. So assuming you get the same pushback from PTs, like, hey, I do Graston, so I'm good. I can't do all that. Like, how do you, what's your process for opening someone's mind to seeing like how you can apply all these tools together?
That's an awesome question, because that's what we went through in our evolution, and I'm grateful to have a partner that's always seeking to. Like PRI, I would say the biggest influences for us have been like FRC, DNS, and PRI. And you, as you know, each of the schools of thoughts are very strong in their camps, right? Very strong. For sure. And then, when you're going through it, it's easy to get excited about things that you learn, which
For
is,
sure.
I think, also important too. But quickly start to realize, like, you have to come up with your own view
Mm.
on how you utilize all these different tools, right? And I think, especially now with social media, it's also easy to get backlash on how you're utilizing these tools, which
Yes.
is why we're never, like, you'll see, like, we're never afraid of giving credit to everyone. Like,
Mm.
I'm so grateful for all the influences of people, but I think people that want to get better should be open to listening to how other things have found success.
Mm-hmm.
And if we stay open, you might just see things a little bit differently, because if you look between the lines, you'll see that people are seeking, maybe it's a communication style,
Mm.
maybe it's a way of a cue, maybe it's the branding behind the back, like whatever it is, like there we have to realize that, like, helping someone change matters on so many fronts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you stay open, you might be able to see it.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to learn through this process. So, um, it's hard too, man, like, because you get worried about the society acceptance too, of like, oh, shoot, if I do this, that's a little bit off of this one school of thought. Oh man, the people that really love that, they might not like me. And it's crazy.
Yeah. It's back to that community piece, right? It's like we got we got virtual communities, right? Or like what feel like communities. So it's
Yeah,
like you're like holding on so strong to, like, I'm an FRC practitioner, like I gotta do what they would do, when it's like it's not real. Like, it's not a real virtual community in the sense of like some of the stuff that you're creating and like what a real community can be like.
100%. And I'll say this too, right? Because one of the pain points that we've always experienced was like, bro, as I was talking to Josh, me and Josh always have these conversations about, like, man, as much as like we've dove into this extra education, you realize how ineffective we still are in teaching people how to think about their body.
Yeah.
I was
Mm.
like, dude, we got to think of something, like, what's simple, like what is simple enough for people to remember, right? And so we all love threes, right? Like remembering things in threes, right? So reset, reorganize, and reload.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, that's oversimplifying how complex a body is. Absolutely. But it's not for me.
Mhm.
It's also
Yeah.
not for essentially the coaches that are coaching, in a sense. It's for the consumer that needs to understand themselves.
Mm.
And so if it's about that, then it's about how to get them to leave a session understanding just a little bit better, right? And so
Yeah.
the 3 R's for us allows for even clinicians or coaches, whoever comes in through progressive, it allows them a framework that is very simple, that when they get lost, they can at least anchor themselves into 3 prongs in the ground. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let me reset this body through maybe hands-on work. Let me reorganize the posture through rib cage, pelvis, or foot orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's reload it into S&C exercises, agility, whatever patterns that are a little bit more dynamic. Okay.
Mm.
Because within each section, you can get much more complicated and granular.
Right.
You can break
Yeah.
this all out, right? But what this allows for clinicians that come in, especially newer ones, we're like, hey, like, I know you have a certain way that you like to train or treat. The 3R isn't supposed to wedge you into a way of thinking. It's supposed to provide
Yeah.
a framework that allows for your clinical flexibility and creativity to operate within.
Mm-hmm.
Be creative with it.
Yeah. It
Mm.
it almost sounds like you have to remove your perceived identity to kind of create a more technique agnostic identity. I made that word up, but it
I like that.
Fire.
I like that. I like that.
Mm.
right, because I think when you were talking, like I was thinking about myself, like, oh man, I used to ollie lift, Phil. FYI, I don't know if you knew that about me, but
You
when I
just keep pulling shit out, bro. We've been doing this for a while
not
now. Like, what
well,
the hell,
not
bro?
well, but I did a little bit, and that was like one of the first things for me when I was like, oh, I'm good at this, and then I identified myself as an ollie lifter, and then when somebody just said something way different from my technique, I was like, why are you attacking me, bro? You know, And when you look back, like he was not attacking me. I just
Yeah.
attached myself with that identity. So I think
That's a good point.
that's an interesting way to I think about framework and um, you almost created that identity with, or you did with progressive, right? The 3 R's and uh, yeah, it's almost like we have to create that ourselves now if we have all these systems or I mean
Yeah,
techniques.
yeah, absolutely, man. Just because at the end of the day, it's like, how do we empower people?
Yeah.
If we're just throwing exercises, they're not organizing their thought process around it. That's why, like, even when I talk to BA, I'm like, I go through the 3R just so he can simply like just go through a checkpoint. It's not perfect. We don't
Right.
claim that. It's a
Mhm.
framework to just at least start something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's moving the needle forward. And I'm sure at some point we'll get a lot of crap for it, but
Yeah.
again, it's in line with the vision and mission, right?
Yeah.
Of empowering the end consumer. And if I believe in that, and if our company believes in that, that's all I can fall back on, man.
When you said systems, I saw Phil just light up
Dude,
with
I got
happiness,
so
bro.
fired. Dog.
So
You know I love a framework, dog. Come
he
on
loves
now. You know I
frameworks
love
and
frameworks,
principles.
bro.
So
Get out of
Let's
here.
you
go.
got him from there. But
I know
no, I think we can talk hours for that, and I'd love to, honestly. But I know we want to be respectful of time. So let's kind of land this plane with some rapid fire questions. Be ready?
go.
Let's do it.
Actually, before the rapid fire, let me. I want to
We still
bundle
got
up
time.
two.
Still got time.
I want to bundle up two questions that a few of our coaches asked on IG. Shout out Sebastian and Nabil. Basically, I think a lot of our audience are coaches. A little bit of my clients as well who just want to learn general fitness and how to get themselves better. But specifically for coaches, how do we help clients through pain while staying within our scope of practice? Because I think it'd be fair to say that they probably see us more than they would see you as a physical therapist. So yeah,
Or
talk
they
us
might not
through.
have a resource. Like they might not have
Yeah,
a PT in their area or even know about PT.
Shoot, man, that goes both ways too. Like
Mhm.
when I'm wanting to refer to someone really good, like who do I go to? That's why we started the strength training division of it, because it's
Right.
like you need to move on. Like I want you to like,
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want. Um, so essentially, how I would answer that is if you have like I know JT, you took Connor Harris's program, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. So a much more biomechanical lens on how to get people a better position, right? And you
Mhm.
can essentially help people with um, exercises that are driven by a lot of the breath work and rib cage and pelvic and foot posture. And let's say they have pain. At the end of the day, all y'all are doing are reorganizing their body, which you can treat your training pain, right? Like in a sense, if you just help them stack better, a lot of the reasons why people will have pain in certain regions is because there's some inefficient movement strategy they're using.
Hmm.
And so I would much rather, if I have my strength coaches, I would much rather them have the ability to think outside of the box in a sense of using certain movements and drills to see if they restack their body, does that alleviate some of the discomfort? Because we're saving everyone's time, right? And so if they're doing it with the intent to not fix the person, but just to provide variable input to a movement, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that pain's a little bit less, dope. Then you help that person. And I know there's a lot of fight, right? I'm sure there's some talk between like therapists and strength coaches and all of that, which is warranted. But at the end of the day, it's like if your generous intent is really to help empower someone and you have a skill set to be able to put people in these positions and see if it did anything, man, all for it. Like by no means like maybe not do any manipulation or anything, but like
Yeah. So that would be outside of our scope, right? Like, don't move
I
your
would
neck.
believe I think so.
I got you. Okay. No, that's super helpful though. I think
Yeah,
with the understanding of like we can put people in better positions, which we do. And that was just a matter of the intent, right? Like if somebody comes
I think
in
so.
with pain, we still should refer to you in our network, but still let's maybe better place our clients in a certain position where we can still empower, right?
I think so. I think, yeah, it's good to have obviously the resources, like collaboration, which is why, again, what I'm building. I mean,
Yeah,
y'all
yeah,
know Exos is like it's like the gold standard, you know.
Mm.
And so I think, yeah, it's the collaboration, but also if you have something in your bag to be able to help people with that,
yeah,
then by all means, like I know the strength coaches are so high level, man. Like especially when we get around the right ones, like y'all, like there's so much to offer,
Mm.
you know. And I just I speak so highly of y'all because like my work with Josh Fan has changed my life. That's why I hired him personally. I work with Jay Lynn's strength coach because I want to get back on the court. And I also, for our profession, I want to show how freaking valuable high level strength coaches are to our life. Like what? Oh man, what bothers me the most, man, is speaking within our physio community, and then this is more in the past. Like why would you hire a trainer? Like, I mean, we know movement. I'm like, damn,
Mm.
that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
yeah,
So, that's why our culture again,
yeah, yeah.
finding the right people, So.
I
Is
like
Sorry, I
that
got
that.
something you think
long-winded.
is changing? Like that sentiment amongst physios where it's like strength coaches don't know movement, don't know their stuff. Is that kind of shifting out?
I think so. I think so, and that excites me because I think the more people are working on them. This is what like how we hire too. Like the more people that I find that are working on themselves,
Mm.
physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the more you get to these crossroads where like, yo, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. I need someone to help me. And when you go through that, you immediately develop empathy for those that are also struggling. And
Mm.
then you start to realize how valuable all these different people are. But if you're not going through your journey looking in the mirror, I hey, I don't know. I don't know what to say from that.
Yeah. Damn, that's a good heuristic for finding the right ones. Like that's so
I,
good. I'm stealing that.
oh, man, trust me, my ego blocked me from getting some help. So,
Yeah,
you know.
Same here.
Ryan Holiday. He said it best, right? All right. That's a good way to kind of top that off with y'all killing me. You good?
Oh, all right. Do it, JT. Do it.
Is this the
All
rapid
right.
fire?
You
Gotta
ready
get
for the
some
rapid
water on this,
fire?
huh? Yeah.
I'm gonna
Let's
keep
go.
it short and sweet for this one. First one. Top 3 NBA players you enjoy watching currently.
Oh, currently. Oh man. I mean, you know where we are. So Steph, easy. I love Kyrie with the ball.
Mm.
And that third one. Damn, that's a hard one for me, but I always love Dame. So
Oh, a lot of guard
yeah,
play.
I know.
That's why
Sorry.
me and you get along. I was like the same list I had, bro. I love
A
it.
lot of guard play.
A lot of guard play, bro. I can
No, sorry, man.
mine's just like Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. Like I'm just also Patrick Beverly.
Hey,
Oh my
Six of my
god.
look,
Sixers players.
you D up. That's why, huh?
That's sort of a dog, bro.
He's a dog. He trusts the process. I
You
get
can
it. I
see what
get
kind
it.
of what people like and how they play, just like seeing what kind of players they like, right? I mean,
That's
my
100%.
favorite
fair.
players growing up was like Reggie, Steph, and Brandon Roy.
Reggie? Reggie
Mm.
Miller?
Reggie was my favorite player, bro.
Really?
I was a chubby kid growing up, bro. So I had to like figure out, all right, let me just get some range on my shot because I can't get by anyone. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta find a solution.
just had to find a solution, bro.
Bro, the shortest Filipino guy, you gotta learn how to shoot. Otherwise,
Oh, no other option, man.
you can't play. Oh man, I love it. All right. Top 3 artists you got in your music playlist at the moment.
I'm so boring, bro. All right. I heard Ram say Drizzy, so I'm gonna say Drizzy. Um, I love my Jid Jordan. Um, I've always loved the mellow vibes of my Jid.
I like that one.
I like that a lot.
Um, I could say Cole, I could say Kendrick, but let me just say Thames. Um,
Oh,
I love Thames, man. She especially in this like grind, I like the mellow vibe. So I'll
Okay.
say that.
I thought you meant like Tamia, and I thought you guys had like a nickname going on, bro.
Bro, you could just say 90s
Tamia.
R&B and then I'm good.
Hey, I'm telling you what, you have the best vibes every time I come in there, man.
Bro, that playlist has been curating since 14, bro.
Oh
It's
man,
like,
sometimes I just make an
It's
appointment just to listen to music, bro.
that's the wait. That's the vibe when you're treating. It's just R&B vibes.
Just
I
chill.
mean, it's a blend, but it's a lot
Okay.
of old, 90s, 2000s R&B.
It
I'm into it.
But
resets you. It reorganizes you, bro. I'm telling you. Um,
Reorganizing the boys and men.
oh, bro, that might get a little too. That might get spicy, bro.
just the Motown Philly for you, Phil. Motown Philly. All right,
Oh,
one last one. I typically like to ask for our to our guests because I think it's one of my favorite thought provoking ones. What have you changed your mind recently, either outside or within our industry?
Wow. I think not changed my mind, but I would say, can I say what really has emphasized in this past year is the need for y'all, the need for strength coaches, experience, minimally experienced to continue to get exposed to collaboration, because I really think y'all are the front line of change for the health and wellness industry.
mm,
Um, because most people are reaching out to you guys first, and um, I think there's a need here, and I've talked to Claire Frank a lot about this because right now Movement Links is just for physical therapists, and um, I think what the future holds for a lot of us is more collaboration and learning together, because that will create more opportunities for us to learn together, to create better
mm.
connections, and then we'll be less guarded when we want to share. And I think that's going to move this health and wellness and performance community forward if we do that more often. And so I'm hopeful for it. But so we're going to start locally here in the Bay and start making that change. And hopefully, little by little, people will start to take that and never forget that.
Is there like one thing that you can call out in particular that like brought you to that realization over the past year?
Yeah, it's it was me not being able to hoop and not
Mm,
feeling good in hoop.
mm,
Um, and so I decided to finally work with Josh Fan because I wanted to, one, have someone to guide me, and two, I wanted to learn from someone that guided a guy that was served as an inspiration um, to my life, and Jeremy Lin, in being someone that trailblazed in a sport where no one looked like him. And
yeah.
so back when I started PT, there was social media again, like I said, it wasn't like as active, right? And so I didn't see any Filipinos in my space, and so it was hard to believe I could do anything meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the two very deep reasons why. And I'm thankful, man, because I feel really the best I've ever felt since working with him. And there's still a long way to go, man. But I'm very grateful for the journey because it's taught me to look within myself and just hold myself accountable to the work.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
it's a partnership, bro. Because I feel the same about you, man. When I first came to you with all these issues, and ever since then, man, it's been one of those things. I'm getting on the court myself now. Where I came to you, I was
Hey,
like, man, I got X, Y, and Z. I cannot do anything. So now I'm at a point where I can dribble the ball. I mean, not that I can really dribble before, but I
JT can
can
shoot.
dribble it without pain.
JT can shoot a little bit. Don't let him front. He can shoot a little bit. He can shoot a little bit.
let's
A little
go.
bit, a little
I
bit. But
was I was I will say thank you for saving JT's body or helping him save himself. I was concerned. My man was hurting. I was concerned about him.
Bro,
you
we
knew
all
it.
go through it, man.
You knew
I'm
it.
just glad
So
we can
no, I
support
mean
each other.
that's it's a lot of echoing what you just mentioned. Just as you feel like you need us, physical therapists need performance coaches. It's a partnership. At the end of the day, we need physical therapists just as much, because it's at the end of the day, like you said, we're trying to help this person, these people right in front of us, and can't do it without one or the other.
Hell yeah, man. And I have so much more to learn from y'all. That's what excites me, because I was laughing with Josh. I go, I feel like we're just trying to build the residency that we wish we were a part of, man. Like, so that's why we're
Yeah.
real talk. We're just trying to get the best. And
Yeah.
we just want to keep learning.
I love it. Yeah. Learning does not have to stop at any point.
It can't.
Keep it going.
We can't.
Well,
Can't.
Joey, this has been an absolute blast, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more about what you have going on?
Pretty easy. Fine. Just hit me on IG. Dr. Joey Salgado. JoeySalgado. Yeah, feel free to reach out if I can be of any service. Yeah, I'm around. And Phil, we might be down your way for a motion collab in May. We might do one in LA. It's cooking right now, so I'll let you know.
Joey, LA is so far from San
I know
Diego.
it's far.
In my mind, I'd rather fly to San Francisco, to be honest.
Is it, bro?
It's not that bad. I'm just dramatic.
If you're in NorCal, we just think LA and San Diego is like 10 minutes away, bro. So
yeah, I was like, it's like 10 minutes.
It's not. It's like it's
kidding,
not. But like LA, bro. I don't like. I'm a LA. I'm a San Diego stan LA hater. So it's just how. I said like I've lived here my whole life. I've only lived here 3 years, but it's bred into me.
It's beautiful though.
Lovely.
Yeah, very lovely.
It's lovely.
Appreciate it, Joey.
Appreciate y'all.
Man.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, brother.
All right, y'all.
Later.
Peace.
JT, whoa, flexing on him. Where can people find you?
On IG, CoachJT.mp3.
You can find me on IG at Nashville. You can follow the show at Pushin Performance. That's Pushin Performance with no G on Instagram, and see full video episodes on YouTube. And as always, if you love the show love how you're supposed to. Give your boys a 5-star review. Maybe leave us a little comment in there. Share it with a coach or a practitioner that you think could level up. And we will catch you all next time.
Peace.
My